Okay. Hello. Um, okay, I'm Elizabeth, and I wanted to do this video. I don't really want to call it a tutorial because I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing yet. But I figured out this brakes and paddles trick that I've been trying to get for an age, like forever. Months I've been wanting it. So I've watched like all the tutorials I can find and over and over and over and trying. And the same thing that all these people who are so good at doing hooping, and I'll like link some of their videos in the comments too. They're so good, and they all say, just keep doing it. Like, it's going to take forever. Prepare yourself. Eventually you will get it. And I'm really glad that I listened to that advice, because I am not a patient person, and I want things and I want them right now. So if I can't do a thing right away as soon as I want to do it, I'm like mad. So this was an exercise in patience for me. But all of my favorites that I watched said, keep trying, keep going, keep trying, keep going. So here I was for months and months trying, and I just couldn't get it, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I was like, this sucks, this is awful, I don't even want this trick anymore, screw it, I don't need it. But I did really want it, so I kept watching. And one trick and tip for you is like, keep watching, like watch the tutorials that you like a few times, because you're bound to, like, when your brain is taking in all this new information about how to do something, and your body has to also learn and catch up, you can miss things. You can miss like little tidbits, or hear, you might be on like the fourth time watching this tutorial and you'll hear something that you didn't hear any other times. And brains are funny that way. But so watch again and again, not mine necessarily, but just find the ones that you like. I'm gonna link some again. I'll link my favorites. So let me see here. What am I doing? This is brakes and paddles. What you're doing is pushing the hoop back and forth across your chest, basically. And oh, see, I lost that one. When you get to the side of your motion, you're stopping that motion and you're using your hand to push back. And that's what the brakes are, is breaking the motion of the hoop, getting it to go the other way. One tip that was super helpful to me, because I was doing for a long time, I watched another girl's tutorial and she said, don't be grabbing your hoop when you're going for it. And I realized I was using my hands a lot to like try to grab the hoop, and that was stopping it, and my hoop was falling. So I stopped using my hands and started almost using like, the flat part of my hand, or the, what is that, heel of my hand? Or my wrist, the inside of my arms, to break the hoop. And that was really helpful. Another thing that was incredibly helpful, the thing that actually like made it click and made me be able to get it, was that I was watching a tutorial I hadn't seen before. This some ones I had come across. I'll find it again and link it. But she was great, and she was saying, be sure that the hoop is almost hitting you in the back. Like when it comes back around, make sure it's hitting, and your break is happening almost behind you. Where before I was like up here trying to, and the hoop wants to go all wonky when you do that. Like if you're trying in front of you to get it, you lose speed and momentum, and you just don't have it. So you need to be catching it like on the outside, almost on the outside. Well, like the outside of the space that we're occupying for this move. You want to like catch it on that edge, almost back here by your shoulder, like your hand is coming up. So brakes got like possible for me. Like I couldn't even do, I was for months, like trying and looking like a fool and just like whacking myself in the head, feeling stupid, but I kept trying. So then I watched this video, saw the trick about like get the hoop to hit you in the back, and I started doing that, and then it was like the stars aligned, it all clicked, it all made sense. Beyond that, like for one session, like one little hooping session, like about an hour, I guess, I just tried to work on making sure my hands were back here and making sure that the hoop was hitting me in the back. So my body like has to turn. If you'll notice, and I don't know if you can see my feet, I guess not, I'm almost like coming up on the toes of the opposite foot of whichever direction I'm moving. Because, and this is another thing that once this clicked for me, made it easier, was like I was trying to control this whole motion with my arms. And it's not an arm, like the arms are necessary and involved for sure, but your body is like, you want your body pushing the hoop, but almost pulling it so that you're making, what's the word I want? An orbit around you. Like you want to be at the point that's pulling the hoop and making it go. Does that make sense? Like imagine your back being the central point of the circle. And that leads me to another thing. There was one of the tutorials I saw, someone said, let your hoop just do 2 rotations on each side before you break it or catch it. Like try to get used to that. And that made me realize that I was doing a lot better with the hoop going in my natural direction, which is counterclockwise because I am right-handed. So normally, when I hoop around my waist, my natural direction is counterclockwise. When I was trying to do these breaks and paddles at first, every time I tried to do a paddle, I was trying with my right hand because I'm right-handed. But then I realized when I'm paddling with my right hand, which is just basically putting your hand up and barely, like you're barely touching it, the hoop with your arm. You don't want to be like whacking the hoop, which is another tip that I didn't, at first I was kind of like, dang, trying to get this paddle happening. And like, it's a very gentle motion. And I realized that when I was trying to do the paddles the first time, I was using my right hand, and that's great for my right-handedness, but I do better when my hoop is going counterclockwise. So at that point, I tried to do a paddle with my left hand, and it worked. And I was like, oh, glory be. I was so excited. Like, you should have seen me. I was like, oh my God, I did it. I did a paddle. Yes, just like that. Because listen, it's been months, and I am not a patient woman. I was very excited. And then I also kind of realized in that same session that whenever I would try the paddling, which you can see, I just put my arm, like it's barely a motion. You're just kind of getting your arm in the way for a second, really. And helping to push your hoop along. Another thing that will help is to spin with it. Like if you've got it going, paddle it and spin it. Like let that hoop roll around your back as you paddle it, because it's just going to give you a little bit more time to collect yourself, because you're having to, when you paddle the hoop, it goes a little faster and then it makes a whole spin, and then you break it again. So you paddle, spin, break. Got my neck. Does that make sense? I don't know if any of this is gonna really be helpful. I should have preempted this whole thing with, I am not a professional at all. I've been hooping for a few months, and really only in earnest for like a couple months. What a few years, right? Yeah, so I think that's it. Water, always have water with you while you're hooping. You won't regret it because this is a good workout and you'll get thirsty. Have water. Okay. Trying to remember all the like little tips and tricks I wanted to tell you guys. Okay, so yeah, breaks and paddles. I think that's it. Like usually when I get started with it, I just kind of spin because doing a pivot spin, like however you're comfortable, you know, on the ball of your foot or your heel or both toes, whatever you like. But spinning and getting that motion of like, I like think of like an orbit almost, and like how the gravitational pull of a planet, you know, that's not, I'm talking about planets and that's stupid, but think of planets and how they orbit and you know, the gravitational pull keeps things in orbit, and like think of your back as the center of the gravitational pull of this hoop. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me in my brain. So there you go. Have that. Because it helps me tremendously when I realized this is what's happening with this move. Like it's not really an arm trick. It's really like a chest and turn spin trick almost. And it works better. If you're moving more, it's easier to keep the hoop up. Like that's just always a fact. And also turn music on. I'm not doing music right now because of the, you know, because I'm talking. But when I turn music on, I do so much better. Like certain songs, like find music that you love that makes you dance, and like music that you feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, because then you'll get like in your own rhythm, and this is like a rhythm move. And you can go like slow and super gentle and calm. I'm like losing it because it's too slow. And you can go fast using a big, this is not a huge hoop, this is like 34 inch, I think, that I got from Autumn Flow. They're awesome. That lady, Michelle McCoy of Autumn Flow, I've watched like a ton of her videos, and I'll link her stuff because she's fantastic at explaining. Excuse me. So if you are, use this one. If you're using a smaller, lighter hoop, like it has to move faster. Like see how much faster that has to be to keep it, and it feels a lot more difficult. Like I feel like I'm working harder for it. And you would think that it would be easier to have a lighter one, but it's not really. It's the lighter one wants to go out of control and like fly away. So it's you want to start with something a little bigger. I was kind of trying to start with like one of my beginner hoops, but that was way too big for me, and I was just like, it was too heavy. But I got these rainbow doubles recently, and they were like, not gonna lie, the hoops probably helped me because they're rainbow colored and gorgeous. And I was like, oh, I have to spin and do this thing now. So that helped. Move around when you're doing your breaks. Like keep it moving. And you will find like a rhythm to it. And even if you're not doing it, when I was first trying to do this, I was like, I'm not even doing it. Like I'm not even close to doing it. What's the point of keeping doing this? I'm not doing it. And slowly but surely I got slightly better. And now I am able to like somewhat do this trick, and I'm super excited about it. And it just feels good, like when you're practicing and like dancing and you've got your music on and you get in the zone, and it's just it just feels good to move your body and like dance around about it. So usually like doing a motion that's like kind of an up and down and a sway is helpful because it just keeps the hoop going in the direction that you want and then helps to move it back in the opposite direction when it's time for that. Yeah, so music. Oh, sleeves are not super great for this trick. Like I can do a little bit with certain shirts, but like mostly bare arms is good because the hoop just slips on your clothes if you have clothes on. I mean, if you have sleeves on. Okay. So I think that's it. I've got, let's see. If you want, like, I can, here, let me show you from the back a little bit too so you can see. Like the hoop goes almost, it doesn't always like hit my back, but it goes almost all the way around. And then like you can kind of, if I do it like this way, you can kind of see. Hold up. Like I'm so not an expert at this. I had such a hard time. See the like shape it makes? It's always like a crescent around you. If that makes sense. Keep trying. Just keep trying. I hope that some of what I have shared has helped you. I know like I'm always looking for tutorials and like I don't know, it's just fun too, especially like pandemic life. I can't go out, like I've got little kids and we're stuck here, and so like watching tutorials almost feels like hanging out with friends. But no, really, like it's cool to see other people and like hear different people's descriptions. People have different ways of describing and understanding, and so sometimes, you know, you'll listen to something explained very well 100 times and it just won't click, and then someone else will say something that for whatever reason makes total sense in your brain and you're like, I get it, yes, that's it. And that's happened to me so many times. So I like always love to go through and watch a lot of tutorials. I guess maybe I'll do some more because I'm having fun like learning all these tricks that I'm learning, and I'm okay at them. I don't get a ton of time to practice, but it's fun and I like talking about stuff that I'm into. So you know, when I get excited, I want to like share what I've learned. So there you go. I hope that's been helpful. I don't know. I don't know how to end a hooping tutorial. I've never done this. I'm not great with technology or social media. I'm okay with a hoop, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess like let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you. And I got nothing but time. Happy to help you if you have questions about like choosing a hoop or how to get started or anything like that. I'm like kind of a nerd about it, so I'm super into it and just want to talk about it all the time. Yeah, and I'll link some of my favorites, some of my favorite hoop teachers that I've been watching. Yeah, and I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching, and yeah, okay, bye.